Hi guys, today we're taking a look at the latest Plants vs Zombies 2 China update, and holy moly is there a lot of stuff this time round. We have got a lot of stuff to get through today. So we're going to jump right in and go straight to new plants. So this first one is completely new and it's called the Burdock Batter. I actually thought this was a parsnip originally, but it's actually based on a real life plant with the same name, and this guy is actually really interesting. So typically it operates like any other melee plant. If a zombie gets too close, it will start dealing damage to it. However, what's really cool about this plant is when combined with a pea shooter. If a pea shooter is placed behind it, so this kind of works like a torch would. So because of the name Burdock Batter, this is obviously related to baseball and that type of stuff. So when a pea projectile goes past Burdock Batter or gets in range, Burdock Batter will actually hit the pea to increase its projectile speed and its damage. So yeah, like I said, so it's kind of like a torch wood, but that's not the only thing it does. So for the most of the time, it will do what I just said. It will increase the damage and speed of the pea projectile, but occasionally it will hit a curveball, and what that curveball will do, it actually affects the trajectory and it makes the pea hit the last zombie in the lane and also stuns them for a brief period. When plant food is used, it will buff up Burdock Batter's next melee attack, which will now knock both small and medium-sized zombies into the air. It also says here that like Torchwood, it becomes flaming, so presumably when you use the peas now, they will also become fire peas. It doesn't actually say that, but I'm just assuming. As with most PvZ2 China plants, Burdock Batter comes with a costume ability as well, which can be unlocked. When equipped, it improves the strength of its plant food ability. Burdock Batter will be available to unlock in the limited time call event. So that's the only completely new plant here. There are a few more, but we have seen them in the international version. The first one is Pumpkin, which does work exactly how it does in both PvZ 1 and 2. It allows you to provide extra protection for other plants. However, there are a lot of differences in terms of its mechanics, so much so that they've made this a massive document on how it actually works, which is really nice actually. So I'll go through how it's a bit different in terms of how it interacts with other plants. Now, it's not only Pumpkin who is going to abide by these rules, because another big selection of plants that are being added into PvZ2 China is all of the vine plants from the international version. So the first thing to note is regarding placement. So there are some plants in PvZ2 China that take up multiple tiles, and basically Pumpkin and the vines will not work on these. They will only work on single tile plants. The next thing to note is that vines cannot be placed on a tile on their own. It says in the description that basically the vine needs the nutrients of the main plant, else it will wither and die. This also applies to any plant that disappears after a while, such as puff shroom. So once puff shroom disappears, the vine will begin to disappear also. The only plant that isn't affected by this is Pumpkin. If plant food is used, it will activate both the vine and the main plant's ability. Finally, if a shovel is used on a plant that also has a vine, both the vine and the main plant will be dug up. There are a few more other details related to the vine plants, but if you do want to find out more, there is a link in the description to the article. Going back to talking about Pumpkin itself, let's look at its plant food ability. This again works like the international version. However, the design of the armor has been updated, so it looks a bit different, which is very, very nice. It also has a costume effect, which is this little candle. And when this is used, this also affects its plant food ability, and instead of metal armor, it now becomes more powerful crystal armor, and it looks really cool as well. The final new plant is again one you are going to recognize, Vamporcini, who does work very similarly to the international version, but there are a few changes. When returning to half health, Vamporcini will revert to its tiny form, just to show a visual downgrade. The second thing is that when Vamporcini is defeated, it will explode into a swarm of bats, which will deal damage to zombies within a 3x3 area. As well as new plants, we also have two new artifacts. The first one is the gold artifact, which is basically Midas's touch. When activated, it will turn all small and medium zombies on the field into gold statues temporarily. If a zombie is destroyed when golden, it will explode into coins that you can collect. There's also some passive abilities you can unlock with this artifact. One of the abilities, for example, will occasionally turn 3 random zombies into gold statues. Another one will upgrade it so it can affect gargantuas as well. The second artifact is the acid artifact that allows you to create pools of acid on the field. This stops and dissolves zombies over time, so if a zombie gets to it, they will start slowly melting into the ground. When a zombie is dissolved, there is a chance that it will spawn an acid zombie in its place to come back and fight for you. What I really like about this artifact is that you can actually combine the acid pools. So if you put two tiles next to each other filled with acid, they will actually join together to become a larger pool, and this means gargantuas will be affected by the acid. I also like how this ability allows you to remove pools and place them down. If you use the artifact on an existing pool, it'll vacuum it back up and you can reuse the ability after a short cooldown. Obviously, it is worth noting that when you do place an acid pool, you cannot place a plant on there. Again, this comes with some additional abilities you can unlock. The most interesting one is that the acid pools will start to randomly generate zombies. Not only does this update include a lot of new characters and artifacts, there has been some changes to some of the game modes. The first game mode we'll talk about is Memory Lane. So these are basically the PvZ1 styled levels. You go back to the original backyard and all that type of stuff. And basically coming up is the Arbor Day event, which runs from the 12th until the 25th of March. In this event, there are two new versions of the backyard, both day and night, but there's also some new interesting mechanics as well. The first one is the zombie transformation device. So this is basically a device that can spawn on the field. When zombies walk into this device, it will randomly change them into a different type of zombie. So a regular zombie could become a garg, for example. To try and balance things out, not only do the zombies have a way of randomly transforming, the plants do also, with a mechanic called cut the grass but not the root. This means whenever a plant is defeated in this mode, a seedling will spawn, and what this will do is after a certain amount of time, it will grow into a random plant. The last two things to note about this event is that one, you can now unlock the Swaying Youth avatar, which is a limited edition. And the second thing is, if we just go back to Pumpkin for a second, in this game mode, you do get to have access to Pumpkin for free. You don't need to have unlocked the plant in the adventure mode, for example. Returning to talk about the Arbor Day event overall, there's also a new thing called the Happy Tree Planting, which was in the event last time it came around. Basically, during the event, you can collect water bottles, and these water bottles can be used to water the big tree. Every time you pour water on the tree 3 times, it will bear fruit, and these fruit will reward you with either plant fragments, diamonds, gold coins, or other rewards. There is also a small chance you may unlock the Mad Hat Mushroom, Diamond Awards, or avatars. The final new thing I want to talk about in this update is for Versus mode, which has had some rework. So basically, they've reduced the difficulty of some of the daily and weekly tasks, and the rewards that you get for completing them have been increased as well. At the moment, the max level in this game mode is level 50, but now you can continue to collect experience and upgrade to higher levels, and basically you'll get better rewards in the advanced book rather than the regular book. And there's also been some new additions to the Versus mode shop. Versus mode will also now remember the plant selection you had each time you enter the lobby. The plant lineup selected in the last battle will be selected again, so you don't have to repick every time. There is also now a report function, so you can report any hacking or cheating and that type of stuff. Now, those are kind of the minor things, but there is also a new feature coming to this mode as well, which is the zombie army and zombie training. And essentially, this is a way that you can unlock new zombies for Versus mode as well as upgrade them. There are going to be tasks, as with everything in this game, that you can complete, and you will unlock treasure boxes which then have zombie cards in them. Zombies that are being added in this season include Barricade Zombie, Barrel Zombie, Ice Weasel, Torch Zombie, Miner Zombie, Balloon Zombie, Mechanical Cow, Exploding Nut Zombie, Magician Zombie, Aircraft Zombie, Roman Siege Vehicle Zombie, and Giant Zombie. Now, I know this has been an absolutely crazy amount of stuff in one update, but there is quite a bit more. Because of the sheer amount of content, I did skip over some of the more niche and intricate kind of things, so if you do want to learn more and find out exactly what's happening in each of these game modes, check out the articles. I've put a link in the description. Just be aware the articles are in Chinese, so you may need to right click and press translate to English so you can read it. Anyway guys, that's about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of this new update in the comments below. But other than that, remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons, turn on notifications, and if you would like to support the channel further, check out my Patreon page by clicking on screen or through the link in the description. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.